Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to Football Pass. Now, we've got a very special guest to chew the fat with today. That is the former Aberdeen, Bristol City and St Johnstone manager, also obviously with an illustrious playing career behind him. The one and only Derek McInnes joins us. Derek, how are you? How's life?
Good, Matt. Thank you. Yes, wee bit of change from the norm, but enjoying it nonetheless and try to make use of the time out.
Well, you definitely are doing that. We've obviously seen you have a very busy weekend across the two Scottish Cup semi-finals, involving one or two of your old teams. What did you make of them?
Yeah, well, I thought both games. I think the eventual winners were the two teams that deserved to go through. I think Hibs had the obvious challenge to try and get through the semi-final after previous disappointments, but I thought they managed the game brilliantly. I thought I didn't think they had to be exceptional in the game, but they just had to bring a level of performance. And obviously with young Kevin Nisbet, the way he's been of late, scoring that all important first goal, I thought obviously the second goal's it's offside and they get a touch of real fortune on that one, Doidge's goal. But I think from there on in, I've seen Hibs a few times, seen them against Motherwell in the quarter final, and they never really seen the game out as well as Jack would have liked. So I think Jack will be pleased with how they managed after going in front and getting themselves through pretty comfortably in the end. I think for Dundee United, I think they'll see it as a missed opportunity. I think sometimes as a team, you need to keep arriving at Hampden, keep arriving at semi-finals to get used to your environment. Hibs players looked a wee bit more ready and able for the game, whereas Dundee United looked as if it was just maybe a game too much for them. And I think they'll be disappointed with the performance, but there's no shame losing to a good Hibs team. I just think they've missed an opportunity, as have obviously St Mirren in the Sunday's semi-finals.
Yeah, that said, of course, from St Johnstone's point of view, one of your old teams, what an extraordinary cup season this could turn out to be.
Incredible, it absolutely is. Callum's obviously a player I know well, a manager I know well. I brought him to St Johnstone as a player and got him involved in the coaching. But for him in his first season, to have won one cup already, potentially win another, and regardless if they don't going to win the game, how they've managed these cup competitions has been brilliant for them. To make top six, which is no given for clubs like St Johnstone. They've got to do a lot of things right to get into that top six, and they just managed to squeeze in towards the end and potentially qualify for the campaign as well. I mean, I don't know how Callum's going to top it. I really don't. It's an unbelievable first start as a manager, and no matter what he goes on to achieve throughout his career, his managerial career, this first season will be tough to eclipse, to be honest. They've done absolutely fantastic. To beat Rangers in the quarter final, in the manner which they did, the bizarre ending with Zander Clark, the goalkeeper, coming up and taking it to penalty kicks. And also, as I say, the way they've managed both semi-finals. So I thought St Johnstone, obviously that all-important first goal against St Mirren, we knew it was going to be a tight game. They've now got a final to look forward to. At the same time, they're still trying to secure that fifth spot, which guarantees them that European spot as well. And you wouldn't bet against them not to achieve that as well.
No, indeed. Now, you mentioned Hibs. Obviously, they've got a big midweek game at your old side, Aberdeen, haven't they, in the battle for third spot? I think you did quite well when you were at Pittodrie with Hibs coming to visit. So how do you see the midweek game and how important is it for the two teams?
Oh, vitally important. I think both teams, I think Hibs would probably, when the fixtures came out for the post-split, would probably have liked to have had this game or this put to bed before this game had came around. Aberdeen, on the other hand, would have been wanting this game to still be as relevant as it is. With Hibs losing last week to St Johnstone in the league, it gave Aberdeen that opportunity to make the most of the fixture, and only a win will do it. Sometimes getting into a game, I think we won 2-0 early in the season at Pittodrie against Hibs, and it was a tight match, but a very good performance from my side, and it'll take another big performance, I think, from Aberdeen to beat Hibs. I think Hibs, they know a draw does them for the game, and I think sometimes that can be problematic in a game. Sometimes if they go out to win it, it means that they can then use Sunday's game against Celtic as an opportunity to rest some players ahead of the all-important cup final for them. Aberdeen will see this as a real lifeline, must-win game, a chance to take it to the final game. And obviously Aberdeen have to go to Ibrox on Sunday, but they want that game to still have some importance on it, and only a win does them. So it's finally poised. It's all to play for. Hibs still in the driving seat, but as you know, you've seen stranger things happen. If Aberdeen win this, it keeps the whole thing moving along for them.
Are there moments when games like this come up that you miss it already, or are you still at the moment enjoying the lack of stress?
No, I think having been a player manager originally at St Johnstone at 36, I've not really had a break. I mean, in between Bristol City and Aberdeen was a short period of time, and not really had a break. So I'm trying to use the time wisely, try and enjoy it, being about the family, get the golf handicap down, catching up with people you don't ordinarily get to see, because you're always too busy, because the job is all consuming, as you know, and it's you know, it was always more than a job to me, Aberdeen. You know, it was a fantastic period for me, and really enjoyed it. Worked with some good people, but I'm actually enjoying, you know, the bits of TV work I've done. I enjoyed the two semi-finals, doing the analysis on that. But I think on Saturday and Sunday, it goes without saying, you know, you'd much rather be in the dugout. You'd rather be experiencing the semi-final occasions and that opportunity to take your club to a final. So obviously we do that numerous occasions. I think in the 15 cup competitions domestically, I think we got to 11 semi-finals. So I know what the boys, all the managers have been through over the weekend, and huge elation for two of them, and huge disappointment, and for a couple of lads as well. So I felt for them, and you know, the losing managers, but also, you know, two guys who have now got in the final who I know well, Jack and Callum, and that'll be a fantastic final when it comes along.
No, it will. And obviously, as much as it can be stressful in the dugout, as you're proving with a bit of a May cold, that the gantry can be a difficult place as well, even in what's supposed to be the sunny end of the season. But those are the perils of the TV job, mate. Welcome to the brave new world. You'll be, I'm sure, also keeping an eye on the midweek at the bottom, won't you, of the SPL? Because I think there's a three-way fight to stay up with Ross County and Killie and Hamilton. They're all nip and tuck.
Yeah, I think the fixture that screams out, you know, the Ross County Hamilton game, I think really exciting to take that. And I think Ross County, they I think in the stronger position, obviously. Hamilton, I think, have to probably go and win the game. Ross County, maybe a draw wouldn't be the worst result for them. With only 2 games to go, but knowing John, you'll be wanting to go and get that win that will secure them. He'll feel in his eyes. And Kilmarnock, St Mirren at the other end, you know, Kilmarnock just played St Mirren recently in the cup. It went to penalty kicks, a tight game, but a home game. St Mirren just come off the disappointment of Sunday. It might be a good game for Kilmarnock to try and get that all important 3 points as well. So I think for Hamilton, it's they can't afford to lose that game. They've got to try and take it to the last game. And we've seen over the years how Hamilton have just found ways to dig out results at this stage of the season. They never know they're beaten. And it's an intriguing end to the season. It's exactly what we want in the SPFL. You know, there's things going on. Although Rangers have won the league a number of weeks ago, you know, the fight for third place is still there. Fight for European spot, that 5th place with St Johnstone and Livingston. The fight for the best of the rest. And you hear all the managers, Graham Alexander, McMillan, Jim Goodwin, all want to be that team that finishes 7th, the best of the rest at the bottom. So plenty to be going on, but certainly the fixtures with most nerves attached to it, the most at stake at the minute will be that Ross County Hamilton fixture, no doubt about that.
And speaking of what could be quite a climactic end to the season, who would at this stage be your picks for player and manager of the year in Scotland?
I think both competitions bring a bone of contention with it, as it normally does. I think the player of the season has to come from someone in a Rangers jersey, and you know, the 4 lads, Alan McGregor, Conor Goldson, Stephen Davis, and James Tavernier, all, and we could a load of people, football-minded people in the room, all give valid reasons for why each player should be the player of the year. For me, it's James Tavernier. That was He's led the team, as captain. I know he missed a period of the season there, and he missed a few games recently. But I think he's come up with so many important goals and assists and led from the front. I think any of those lads would be deserved winners. But if you're asking me, it'd be James Tavernier, because I think there's been question marks over previous seasons. Quite an easy target, not led the team the way some people want him to, and he's really stood up on important occasions, important goals and assists. And for a fullback to affect the game in the final third as much as he does is incredible. So for me, he would be my player of the year. And the manager of the year, again, valid reasons. If Jack goes and secures third spot and wins the Scottish Cup, that would be a huge achievement. Callum Davison goes and wins 2 cups and gets into Europe through his league campaign, and in another season that would probably get him manager of the year, and I understand totally the clamour for that. But for me, Steven Gerrard was so much on the season, so much pressure. They had to win that title this year, especially the way the cups have played out for Rangers. The disappointment they've had, but the biggest achievement for them was dealing with the pressure of stopping Celtic winning 10 in a row, and they've dealt with that brilliantly, you have to say. I think to go through the season unbeaten would be a huge achievement. I think that would be a huge recognition of a lot of good work done there. And I also think the way Rangers have carried the flag for the SPFL in Europe, I think they've been a fantastic kind of assessment of our league. A team like Rangers can go to so many difficult fixtures, play with a confidence, play with poise, play with an authority, a good style of play, the way they have done over the course of the European campaign. I think they've flown the flag brilliantly for Scottish football when they've done that. So I think a combination of the European work, the domestic league form, for me, Steve, would just nip it ahead of Callum, to be honest.
Yeah, no, well said. I think there are obviously lots of deserving candidates, but I think from a distance anyway, the work Steven Gerrard's done as a manager at Rangers, not least actually his support of Glenn Kamara and all that went on with the Slavia Prague issue, I think it showed the class of the man and the emerging manager. Now, obviously down south, a distant view from you, looking down at what's going on in my part of the world, I'm sure you'd want to mention a good pal of yours, Penny McLean at Norwich, because whilst it's been a fantastic season for them to jump straight back up, it looks, I think, difficult for him, doesn't it? He's got an injury, ligament damage that might rule him out of the Euros. That will be a real shame for him.
Yeah, I mean, a real blow. Two lads, if that is the case, Ryan Jack and Kenny, who were in big performance for Scotland. I think both lads have been very important. Kenny has obviously scored an important penalty, but I think even in and around a group environment, his influence on the pitch and in and around the hotel and training ground, he's a brilliant personality. He's had a very good season, Kenny, again, and along playing a big part in Norwich, getting back up comfortably again to the Premier League. I watched a bit of the game on Saturday, so when I left to go to Hampden, the game was still playing, so I got a text to say that he had injured himself. So I'll be devastated if that is the case. It looks like a bad one, his medial ligament, but hopefully he's always been a quick healer, and hopefully they can get the physios can do their work and the medical people and still give him that outside chance to make it. So it'd be a real shame for both lads to miss it. And I think Scotland are a better team when both lads are in the team. So hopefully Kenny can make it.
Yeah, no, obviously we wish him a speedy recovery if possible for the Euro. Speaking of which, I'm sure you'll have a BDI on not just England, Scotland, but obviously a chance finally for the national team to fly the flag and play at a major championships after years and years. It's a great time, isn't it, to get behind the national team?
Absolutely. I think we're all excited by the level of player that's in the squad. I think delighted that Steve and the lads have managed to get the country through. I remember 1998, the last time in France. You would never have thought it would have took this long to get the country back. But a lot of near misses and close calls, but eventually we're here. And we want to try and really take part in it and perform well. I think there's a confidence in the squad at the minute. I think there's a level of player playing at a good level. And I think a lot of players at the right age who are ready to do well in this tournament. Hopefully we can embrace the challenge. It's clearly there, not just be happy to take part, but actually to go and do really well in it. And I'm sure that will be the case.
Yeah. Well, it's lovely to talk. Delighted that you're taking the chance to relax and see things from the gantry point of view, if you like. But we would, I'm sure, like to see you back on a bench in a dugout soon. I'm sure it won't be long.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. All the very best. Good talking to you.